Hey folks, a little different harmonica video today. You won't have to suffer with me playing anything because I'm a pretty mediocre player. But I thought what I would do is detail my collection of Suzuki harmonicas, specifically diatonics. If you've read my postings on the Harmonica Club forum, you'll know that I've collected a lot of Suzukis. And I've collected them over a few years. And probably, you're wondering, well, what's the difference between all these harmonicas? And, you don't have to go back and read, a couple of dozen posts from 4 years ago. So I've laid them all out here, and I'm just going to go through the technical differences between all these Suzukis. And another thing I want to mention is I have this collection of Suzukis, and you're thinking, well, do I think Suzuki's better than the other companies? And no, not really. I've got harmonicas from every maker. Hohner, I started out with Hohner, a lot of Seidels, a couple of Lee Oscars, and they're all good. There's not really bad, if you get pay a decent price, you're not going to get a bad harmonica. So they're all pretty good. The thing is, in Canada, where I live and I'm making this video, is you can get really good deals on Suzukis that you can't get on other harmonicas. I've got a Bluesmaster here, and the price of this harmonica hasn't changed in 5 years. Whereas something like a Special 20 or a Marine Band from Hohner has literally doubled. Literally doubled. So I've been able to get a lot of Suzukis at some really good prices. So what I'm going to do now is I'll just take you through all of them and show you what the difference is. Okay, let's run through these. This, I think, is the best beginner's harmonica on the market. The Suzuki Bluesmaster. Very reasonably priced harmonica, about half the price of what I pay for a Marine Band up here. Comfortable full-length covers, plastic comb with the reed plates recessed inside that comb. So it's very comfortable. It's a well-made harmonica. I've been playing one of these daily for about 4 years, and I'm delighted with it. Now, for people looking for their first metal-combed harmonicas, this is probably going to be the #1 choice for most people. This is a Suzuki ProMaster. Beautiful aluminum anodized comb. And these are about half the price of the harps sold by other manufacturers. So I think you're going to be pleased with this because this is something that you can afford. There are some claims that the combs aren't done to as high a standard as they are by other makers, and that may well be fair comment. But if you're looking to try an aluminum combed harp, this is what you're going to want to start off with. Really nice. I have many of these. Next up is the famous Manji, which is really Suzuki's answer to the Marine Band, except it's got some more modern features. It's got the clipped cover plates, but they're comfortably rounded on the edges, and it's got a brilliant comb. The comb is 50% wood fiber, impregnated with a plastic resin. So it's got all of the best features really of a plastic comb. It's completely resistant to moisture. It won't swell, crack, shrink, or do anything. And I think anybody who's interested in harmonicas should really try at least one Manji. And you might become a fan. You might buy a whole bunch of them. Okay. Now the Hammond we have here, again, another member of the ProMaster family, and it is really a black ProMaster. It's basically as simple as that. Painted black, and it's got a black anodized aluminum comb. There are some claims that the comb on the Hammond is actually done to a higher standard than it is on the ProMaster. Now, I don't know why that would be true. I don't know if it is true. But people really like these. And as you can see, I think this is why Suzuki really takes the prize for some of the most attractive harmonicas. Because they put a lot of thought into what a harmonica looks like. And that's a very nice looking piece of equipment. As is the Olive, which really is a somewhat unusual harp. As you can see, it's green. Again, remember the ProMaster family in appearance. But what sets this off from the ProMasters is the comb, which is like the Manji. It is 50% wood fiber, impregnated with a plastic resin, completely resistant to moisture. I think this is an extremely modern harmonica. It's got all of the modern high-tech features that you would want in a harp. Again, this is one that I think is worth seeking out to try because, again, I think it's really probably the most affordable high-tech harp on the market. And I call this high-tech even though it's actually a simple design, but it's got really nice features on it. Again, that comfortable full-length covers, that resin comb, Very nice, a nice simple design, but very modern. Now here's a very modern design. It certainly isn't simple. Might even be a little gimmicky, although my musical talent is not really good enough for me to make that judgment. But this is a Suzuki Overdrive. And as you can see, the odd feature here is that each set of reeds has its own little sound chamber. There's a tine that comes down between each of those holes, giving each reed its own sound chamber. These cover plates are molded plastic, so they can do that. You couldn't stamp in tines like that, but you can mold them in plastic. But this does have a very nice feature in that because there's tines between each of those holes, it's not necessary to bolt the comb, bolt the reed plates onto the comb, because the tines will hold them in place. If you remove the two end bolts on the covers, the reed plates will just lift off, which is, I think, a brilliant design. I'd like to see more manufacturers try that. It's awkward to play because if your fingers inadvertently block the wrong hole, you're gonna smother that reed. So it's an awkward harmonica to play. But I got this at a really good deal, and it's something unusual. It's a challenge, so it's always fun to try something try a little challenge. Now the Suzuki Fire Breath, again, in many ways, it's almost a member of the ProMaster family, except it's got a rosewood comb. Again, very, very nice, attractive rosewood comb, extremely resistant to moisture. I've played this many, many, many times. There's no problem at all with it swelling or shrinking or shifting in any way. These are quite hard to find now. They're getting a little expensive. If you can find one of those at a good price, it's something worth having. I cannot say to you that it's any better than any other harp. I can't tell you that rosewood makes it sound better. Okay, my ear is not that well trained, but it's a delightful thing to look at, and sometimes, as I've said, it's fun just to own something that's pretty. So if you can find one of those at a decent price, treat yourself. Now, speaking of rosewood, of course, the Pure Harp, which is the ultimate rosewood harp, which, again, it's got a rosewood comb, and oddly, it has rosewood covers on it. And I have not seen a harmonica, a diatonic, a small diatonic from another manufacturer that actually has wooden covers. I've seen them from customizers and custom makers, but it's an odd feature that Suzuki actually makes available. Again, rather expensive, and I think in large part a gimmick. I cannot say to you that this plays better than any other harmonica, but it's an unusual thing. It's fun to own. If you want to try something that's odd, if you want to have a bit of a conversation piece, the Pure Harp is it. And it is a very, very nice harmonica. There's no question. I don't know if they're worth the money, but again, in Canada we can get deals on these, so it's worth taking a look at. Which brings us to the top of the line, which is the Suzuki Fabulous. And you'll notice this one is wrapped. And the reason it is wrapped, and I have played it, it's not that brand new, but Suzuki ships it with a paper that actually outgasses a protective agent so that it won't tarnish. Because everything you see here is actually silver. The covers are plated in silver, and the comb is plated in silver. So you're not looking at chrome, you're actually looking at silver plate. What makes this especially unusual is that the comb is entirely brass. And Suzuki claims that it is made by spark erosion, or what we call electric discharge machining. It's a process I'm familiar with from my airplane days. This is a very heavy harp. This weighs about 50% more than an average harmonica. And this is another instance where I'm not going to say to you that this plays much better than any other average harp. But these are expensive harps. If you can get these at a deal, it's fun to own. It's fun to own a high-end harp. But there you have it, all silver plate, brass comb, a delightful thing to own. Plays beautifully. I can't tell you that it plays, as much as you spend. I can't tell you that this thing actually plays like a $200 harmonica or whatever you might spend. But I was able to get a good deal, fun harp to own, and that is Suzuki's top of the line. So I hope you enjoyed this little trip through my collection.